Our thing is to look at what all those trends mean and how a company can plug into that to get business. I mean, at the end of the day, everything that we do is how is this going to produce revenue? And I think a lot of people get trapped into looking at attribution and all these models and stuff from marketing, and they have a hard time justifying what they're doing because they can't really correlate, hey, this turned into revenue.
Yes, and that is what I wanted to talk about, because numbers underneath a video doesn't mean anything, and the marketing people that are using those, it's not really, I mean, the software that we have, some of it, I don't know if you want to talk
No.
about. Okay, never mind. But anyway, there's other ways basically that when you see it starts to generate sales and revenue,
Yeah.
those are the numbers that you're looking for.
Yeah, those are the droids you're looking for. So what do you see people doing on LinkedIn that doesn't resonate with end users or channel partners or whatever their audience is going to be? What are you seeing people do that is not working?
I think people think they're posting when they're really not posting any information at all. I see people doing things that was done a while back that used to work that doesn't work anymore. And I don't see anyone changing and adapting to what the audience wants to see. And I think that there's a lot of junk being posted that no one cares about. No one cares about seeing logos left and right, just logo, 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 scroll, scroll, scroll. And I
What was the
think
term called for that?
banner blindness.
Yeah.
So people get what's called banner blindness, and they just psychologically will tune out all these logos and just skip right by. If you have a photo with a logo on it, they don't care.
It's
It
the
means
same way.
nothing.
It's the same way in the feeds too, because you're just going through there and it all becomes one blur of. To me, the thing I see coming from the sales side of things is it's like a product pitch instead of talking about how your solution and your company helps customers, what your value is.
Mm-hmm.
There's just a feeds and speeds for the old days of showing out. Here's my widget. Here's what it does, and you should just buy it.
Yeah, and also products to music, just dancing around. Okay, what is that?
Well, I'd say there, it has a spot like if you're doing an ad
Mm-hmm.
for just quick, to get people maybe excited about something, but there's got to be a point where you start telling people what the heck your company's about and what it does to help somebody. And
Yes.
and there's so much to break down. Like if you start getting into verticals and what each one, it's going to be different. Like if you're talking to an airport, they have different requirements than a warehouse. And so I think the approach that everyone has seems to be one size fits all.
Generic.
Yeah, and so it doesn't resonate with most of the audience because it doesn't speak to them.
No. And then it's just, I'm sorry, I can't remember what I was going to
I
say.
was going to say the relevance game is kind of like what we've been really dialed in on, which is you're just looking at, okay, well, how does this product solve a problem for this particular person? So you're kind of putting yourself in their shoes and what's their day to day? What are they trying to figure out? And I think just having that, excuse me, as a narrative, making it short, sweet, here you go. That's been sort of what we've been focused on for our clients and helping them do it in a way that's entertaining for the people on the other side of it, but it also gets the message through. So, and then we'll continue working on that forever. But I think that's where we're starting to really hit our stride is just figuring out, we haven't really even announced it, but Wave Media is really where Wave is going. And that is just producing content for B2B customers to help explain what they do or what their product does in short snippets for end users, channel partners, whatever the audience demographic they want to go after. Obviously, we have a good bit of channel partner experience and understanding that education is a big key to drive sales. Otherwise, you're expecting people to figure it out. You're expecting them to just know, like, let me go figure out what your value prop is to me and how to apply it.
Hmm. A customer should not have to work to find out what you have to offer for them. How can you help them? I think it's becoming very self-centered, and the customer can see that, and they're not interested in that. They just want to know what can you do for them.
Yeah, and what's funny is that there was a CEO, I won't say his name, but I saw him post a question regarding LinkedIn and the value there, and that his marketing department was kind of pushing him to go out there and talk, which is perfectly fine. But he also saw that people are just seem to be self-promoting, that there's no value in terms of what they're doing other than to promote themselves, is what his impression was. And I think that's the big takeaway that um, you got to think about, like, why am I posting this?
Mm-hmm.
What value is it to the other people on the other side? And I get, there's going to be different types of content that go out.
Correct. Yeah.
So I'm not saying that what we do in one thing for is the end all be all, but I don't see other people sort of connecting the dots of, hey, what value am I providing the audience, my target audience? And I think from a sales perspective, we coined the term marketing that sells, and I think our whole um, approach to this is really looking at it from how does this content help the sales department move deals? How can they use it? Most of the time there's something that they really can't use, and they can't use an hour long webinar to educate their end users. So unless people are just jumping on those and it's very hot, then that's not going to be something that they're going to just go out of their way to take the feed and look at that. So I think breaking things up into digestible chunks and knowing that people are, yeah, they'll watch stuff for a longer bit if it's good, but most of the time they don't have the time. And if you can get your message in there little by little, I think it's a lot more effective.
Yeah. And by creating our channel, we have the channel partners can go now to our website, our channel,
Yeah, LinkedIn
and yeah,
channel.
on LinkedIn, and they can just sift through whatever they want to watch. If they don't want to watch something, they don't have to. And I think
Yeah,
they like that. They can just go through there and find what they want, what they need, what a client needs. And even end users are on there looking, sifting through. And our channel has been growing because they don't have to go over here to look at one thing and over there to look at what they're just coming right there. And we hope to have more for them to sift through, and more for them available to help them. It's to help them.
right.
Yeah.
And that's all organic growth.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's just been kind of almost a way of testing how are we doing? Like, how is this material received?
Mm-hmm.
Is it the right format? Is it the right length? Is the content delivered correctly? There's all these components that go into it, and we think a lot about it. And I think it's been a great way of just sort of putting things out there to see, if it's good, it's going to gain traction. We're not using advertising or anything to get people to come and really go to the channel. It's just been, um, organic growth of people kind of coming in there. We've invited some people, but 90% of it's just people just sort of finding the channel.
Yeah.
And I think if, at least hopefully, if the content's good and we put a lot of effort into delivering value to everybody, then it'll catch on. So that's the big direction that we're going, is just getting more into the wave media component of how can we help our clients get their message out? How can we use our talents in copywriting and video production and video editing and subject matter expertise and kind of putting that together? And the one thing that you mentioned, I think it was today, is that they can't do the same thing on their own. In that, if we're creating an audience and channels where people are coming, that they don't want to just go to one manufacturer necessarily to look at what they have. It'd be nice if they can just go to one place. And so we're sort of aggregating that subject matter expertise by channel, meaning we created a security channel for the security industry, which we've been in for a long time. So that is an area for that, and then we're just going to create different channels for other B2B customers.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, it's just easier for especially channel partners and end users. They don't want to surf the entire LinkedIn feed for something that's useful for them. So anyway, you have more opportunity that way, I think, too. It's sort of the promise of going, when you go to trade shows or when you do any event, it's a big area where there's a lot of people there, but
It's
then
just too much.
it's too much. Yeah, it's sort of information overload. So we're trying to make it very concise and tight and helpful, a little bit of infotainment added to it. But I think, yeah, we're excited. So the Wave Media thing is probably the biggest change that we've made since we started. I mean, we kind of went from really focused on one industry and then spread that out to B2B and then had dedicated and fractional sales and marketing people. And now the media component is more exciting because I think that it is leveraging, things that your background in television and radio, and just how you put ads together and what a customer might want versus what the public or the audience wants, how to get that reach together, and then my copywriting and video editing is it's a lot of fun to put that out there. And so anyway, I think the subject matter expertise component to it is unique in that, yeah, I mean, people could create all this stuff on their own.
And it's also the feedback that we get from the viewers, from the audience, is what shapes the next video. It's them that are telling us what they want. And all we want to do is give them what they want.
Right. Yeah, we're not dictating
Versus
it.
I'm going to make a video about what I want, and that's not how it works. And that's really a secret. You have to give them what they want.
Yep. I think a customer service background probably ingrained that into us,
Yeah.
old Nordstrom employees. So I think the next thing though is that somebody could do all this. I mean, every company kind of is going to have a media practice, and I
Mm-hmm.
foresee us, you know, working with companies in different facets. Maybe they can create the material, and we can come in and edit it, put our
Mm-hmm.
sort of polish on things. But at the same time, it's a lot of work just to write copy that's engaging and has some good hooks and can get people to listen to what you have to say. That's just something right there.
Well, maybe we should talk about that. Maybe we should talk about what's involved in making a video that people like. I mean, sometimes, yeah, you can just do raw and just walk around and talk or whatever, but we're talking about, reaching an audience that's trying to find out some valuable information. And sometimes you want to show diagrams or whatever.
Right.
And
Yeah, putting something together that's going to have lasting power. So that's a great example. So we could certainly put a vertical video up,
mhm.
and it would go on like an Instagram or YouTube short, something like that. And there's value in doing that. But there's also other content that you want to be um, more long term and that has staying power and that's a little bit more polished and produced.
Mhm.
And so there's value in both of those. And I think
Yes.
that when we're creating content for a client, and we could do everything. I mean, this is the thing now. This sort of the secret's open that if anybody especially within any B2B, but physical security right now, because of our expertise in that field, it's like they could come in, say, okay, we want to work with you, and we would create a program for them of, here's what we're going to do, and how many times we're going to do it, and they could either lean on us to create everything soup to nuts except for, if they have their product it's good for them to video their
Mhm.
product. They should have. There's certain things that a company should have. Um, so I've learned this the hard way, and that it's nice to have at least some graphics of what your company materials are. So product, and if you have video of it, even better. But I would call that sort of that B-roll of what goes in. So when you're talking about a product, you can have that within the shop, but we can do the sort of explainer component of it with our subject matter expertise and help somebody do that.
Mhm.
It just depends on how much they want to do. But our idea is to take, it's a lot. There's a lot to it. So you'd have to have a subject matter expert. You'd have to have the right sound backdrop. So you have the right recording. All that material has to be then um, gone through and cleaned up. And then that goes into the editing.
Yeah, that's pre-production.
Yeah,
And
pre-production.
then it's all wrapped up, your footage.
So your former
Pre-production, and then it goes to
video.
post-production is when you put it all
So
together.
you recorded video back in the day. So you were doing video and you did
Yeah,
stuff for,
pre-production, yeah,
yeah.
and post-production.
So on the post, then a lot of work goes into,
There's a lot of work in all of it.
yeah,
I mean, some people have to have a lighting expert. Some people have to have an audio. I mean, you don't just plug a microphone in and
yeah,
you're done. There's audio and there's mixing and there's just so much to all of those things before you've even recorded anything. And then what are you going to record?
right,
Do you have a script or are you going to go off script? Well, if you don't have a script, sometimes you kind of go off on these rabbit trails and then there's no purpose to the video because you got sidetracked on talking about something else and the audience is trying to follow what you're saying and you didn't really make a point at the end.
right.
So that's just that part of it.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
how do you add sort of that other background material, right? So the B-roll
Hmm.
of, here's what's happening, or here's your product.
Licensing.
Yeah, there's licensing. We know all about the licensing, so there's a lot to that. And then you repeat that. So this is why most companies do one video a year, maybe two videos a year, is they put a lot of money hiring somebody to do all this. And this is one of the things why we created Wave Media, is because that doesn't work. That's like selling twice a year. So
Yeah.
you're not going to do that either. So, between that and trade shows, people put a lot of time and energy into those two things, but at the same time, the ROI on it, it should be the everyday, or at least you should have
It's
material that can be
it's a
shared.
relationship you're building.
Yeah,
And if you only say hi twice a year at a show, how is that a relationship?
well, even if it's every month, it's like, okay,
Okay, and we send newsletters. Okay, well, that used to work.
yeah,
People don't read a newsletter when everyone's sending a newsletter. Now they've got 50,000 newsletters in their email. They're not going to sit and read newsletters all day.
I always laughed about, going to ISC West so many years, and we'd go there. It'd be the same thing every year. You'd go, it'd be like, okay, great. You spend a whole week there, and then you get back, and now you're just overloaded with all this stuff that you have to get done. So now you have this backlog, and you're trying to catch up, and then the end users and channel partners who went, they're also trying to catch up. But then you get this email from marketing of an Excel spreadsheet of everyone sort of bunched together of that was at the show for follow up. And what happens is they might get one call and they're done because everyone's busy. They only have a few calls, and almost none of the manufacturers that I've talked to have a really great strategy of doing follow up. That was one of the reasons we did inside sales, was because of that. But then you take it sort of the next level where, all right, that channel, that those people who you were supposed to follow up with, they were busy because they're trying to catch up on a week's worth of business, and now it's time to have sort of what we call a cadence, a series of steps to connect with them. And now you add to that video where maybe it's a good reminder when you were talking about banner blindness. They went through that show just like we did this a couple months ago, and we're showing all the different folks that are
Banner,
out there.
banner.
It all
banner.
bleeds together. Can you imagine
And then
what the end
the
user thinks?
brain cannot handle it and it just tunes it out
Yeah.
And it's the same thing as the scrolling through the logo. It's really it's a true psychological term.
Yeah. Well, I'm just thinking that that's probably one of the reasons, though, is sort of everyone sort of blends together because they're going to get that email from, it's going to be a generic
Hmm.
at company email from probably marketing or something that goes in. Thank you for stopping by our booth, blah, 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 blah. And they get 100 other ones that look just like that.
Right, all at the same time simultaneously
Yeah.
because it was a trade show
Right.
and their box is just
Yep.
full.
And so what
And
a
that's it.
what a
Twice a year
great
they get
way,
that.
exactly, and what a great way to remind them of what they saw by creating a video of showing them, hey, here's some of the things that we do, and have that already ready. So if you had that material ready to go, because everyone just uses these shows as sort of like a backdrop of like, hey, here we are at the show, and we're having a good time and doing this, that, and the other thing.
And then weeks go by and it's the same post. They're
Yeah,
still posting about the show because they don't have any content.
yeah. So I think having that content ready to roll
Mm-hmm.
and then creating that content over 12 months. So that's sort of our big focus right now is helping our clients create content on a regular basis so that it's good content. It's like I said, sort of that infotainment quality to it, where you're explaining your relevance to the audience. That end user, that channel partner, why, where, how. Here it
Mm-hmm.
is.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's personalization, getting all that sort of the next level. I think the expectation from a buyer at this point are pretty high. That's why they try to do 80
Yes.
to 90% of the research on their own
Mm-hmm.
and that's another thing. Yeah, there's a lot of things that we have sort of coming. So I won't ruin everything, but if you look at the average website and you go there and you're trying to figure out, what's going on, and I think all companies we're all guilty of this. But it's, how far can that person go, um, in terms of doing their research to find out what you do. And so if you do have and video is more powerful than just text. People
Mm-hmm.
don't, as a copywriter, I know that they don't read as much as you would hope they would. And I think video is just a more powerful way of delivering messages, and there's a lot you can do obviously with video. But my point was that, if you can help somebody to go further on your website and really understand what your value prop is and give them the information that they would want, now they're really ready when they ask for that demo. You know that they're ready for, probably, choosing that company to purchase from. So I think when I look at most websites that are still out there, they make it where their goal is to get that person to call them, not to educate them and
Yeah.
help them on that journey. So I think if your goal is to pop up a form and sort of, firewall off your content because you want them to fill in their information, they can certainly fake that information in two
It's like,
seconds.
I know, and it's again, they're trying to get something from the customer instead of
Give.
giving them
Yep.
something. And it's just the customer senses that.
Yeah. I mean, we all know how to get around that too. So, I mean, I think you're just creating a bunch of junk leads for yourself, by
Definitely.
doing that. Because somebody's just going to be like, yeah, here's my email. I
Yeah.
just wanted to download the ebook.
Yeah.
So, I think if you can, just give it all away and show, just think about value, just thinking about value constantly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we want to help our clients do, is just like, what part of that can we help with? And so right now it's explaining what they do and what they do really well and why they're better maybe than another solution. And that's a long list of material, because there's going to be a different material for educating a channel partner.
Yeah.
And maybe it's a series of a little bit more technical deep dives on things, or from a sales perspective of what they need to look for. So it's kind of an endless, amount of material. But again, do you want to create all that on your own, knowing what is
Yeah, you're gonna
entail for it.
need teams of people.
Yeah, or you could just call us. So that's our goal is to really sort of expand on what
And
we've
to
been
be able
doing.
to do that at scale, to, have a regular video, or, it's expensive for most people, but we can do
Yeah.
it because we know how.
Well, that's the biggest issue right now is having a consistency
Hmm.
because, if you're looking at algorithms alone, just on social media, um, that's 90% of what it's looking for is consistent content that's going out and that people like. So, first you got to have sort of the right ingredients of
And
that.
to understand each platform and its nuances and how each one is different, each one operates differently, the algorithms operate differently for each platform. So,
I've been guilty of favoring certain platforms more,
yes.
and I think all of us need to, diversify
Mhm.
those and distinguish those as different advertising channels. But they're all going to have a different approach, and that's probably the biggest challenge is getting material around that's going to do well on that platform.
Mhm.
Um, and then again, there's B2B and what we focus on. So I'd say LinkedIn is probably, where a lot of our energies go, only because a lot of our clients and the people that we work with are on
Yes.
there and they already know, like, trust,
Yeah.
what we've been doing.
Yeah.
So that is the big focus though. Um, aside from just creating the videos for the client, that's like the whole another level to this is people think that we're just pushing these videos out on social media. So there's a lot more behind the scenes that's going on.
Yes, that's not the only reason we create them.
Yeah. So
We have other uses for those, but
and
you'll
that's
have to call Wave to find out.
yeah, that's a little more
That gets into,
trade secret.
yeah, and the software topic, which we'll have to talk about next time.
Well, we could touch on it. So there's a lot more to Wave than sort of, we definitely started out um, working with manufacturers and so just by proxy that's it's sort of that representation motif. And from day one though, I never wanted us to be just doing that. I wanted to grow this into something bigger, and with inside sales as a major component to that. And I think that there's broken paradigms and we want to flip out of those. And I think we moved into a managed service provider um, 2017, end of 2017.
You always have to keep changing with what people want.
Yeah,
So
and
you don't just do one thing until it, I don't know.
that and it's just your target markets like this, like
Yeah, and
there's
then
nothing
the
there.
audience changes what they like to see and hear,
Yeah.
and the way it's delivered. It always has to change. Otherwise,
So that's
after a while, you're not popular anymore.
well, my the focus for us alone has just been okay. Uh, I want to provide more services than just this. So that got us into software. This is kind of where I'm going, and that got us into inside sales, and it got us into some of the marketing stuff that we're doing, and the software component. And we provide software for clients. Is that they we learned firsthand they go in to get software and we're just sort of connecting the dots for the client and they start down the road of, oh, okay, cool, this looks like great software. And then it's okay, well, here's your onboarding and you need to do this many meetings and this is all the stuff that we need from you. And it's just like, oh my gosh, this giant time suck of resources. And that was another sort of aha moment for us, which was, now look what we can do. We're certified on these platforms and we work with them every day, so we can put all this stuff together very quickly.
And for our industry,
Yeah,
like, so it's specific.
and that's where the playbook kind of
Yeah.
idea came from. Is like, here's all the things connected together, so we can connect like a sales engagement platform to Salesforce or whatever it is. And there's companies that still don't understand the value of a sales engagement platform over to CRM. And so that's a whole nother side of Wave of what we've been doing, but it's on our website. If you look under technology partnerships, those are companies that we've aligned with, that we've vetted, that we work with on a day-to-day basis because they deliver a really good ROI. In fact, there's some other clients or partnerships rather that we haven't uh, put on there yet. We need to, but we've always been a technology company.
Hmm.
Probably because I was in data storage for years and got an early sort of glimpse at how technology can make you go further and faster and get a lot more done. So anyway, that's a big thing that I think is needed, and especially in certain industries, and the security industry is one of them for sure.
Yeah. I thought you were going to talk about um, you don't just buy the software and you bought the software.
Yeah, yeah. The implementation
they
component
they
is
are
a
like,
big deal.
okay, yeah, I'll buy that, and they bought it, and they're like, what do we do now?
Well,
And
the
then they never even used it. They just bought it, and they just went,
yeah,
yeah, we don't
too much,
know
too much for us.
anymore. We
Well,
can't.
that was
But and then they can say, yeah, we bought that and it didn't work.
right, right. Well, I mean, when a software company expects your internal team of 2 or 3 people to do a lot of work, now they're off and doing something, and you're paying them to onboard software. So there's an added cost to that. Whereas you could hire Wave, and we go in there. They're still getting it directly. In fact, we help them with even with the pricing component, but we're going in there and sort of doing all the connections, making sure it's fine tuned. Getting There's just a ton of work that goes into doing that,
Yeah.
but we do it all the time. It's just like, okay, now I have all that done, and then especially when we already have an inside team that's also doing that.
Hmm.
This is one of the biggest things is in salespeople hate new software. It's just a big pain because now it's just like, okay, this is for reports, isn't it? And so what we've been able to do is if we're doing inside sales for someone, we open that up, we get it all fine tuned, and then we sort of crack the door open, and then they can let additional salespeople on it, and they'll see, wow, this is actually is pretty killer. This does a lot more stuff for me and makes me a lot more efficient on my
Yes.
day to day. It's like, don't you want to be able to see when not only when someone opens an email, but be able to test which emails are doing well, be able
Hmm.
to have all of your sort of hit list of people that you need to contact every day and having it on a sort of a heads up display of what you need to get done. So there's just these things that we've been doing since at least 2015. We're doing sales engagement. So we have a good experience on that for sure. And so all these things sort of came together, and I'd say the video piece is sort of that additional component that really is going to drive a lot of these things together. But we want to open that up where if somebody doesn't want to work with or have our inside salespeople or fractional whatever, you know, we can just work with somebody as a client, just doing video for them.
Yes.
And I think that's going to be sort of a lot of what we want to be able to do coming up. So
Yeah. Or even if they have their own raw footage, we can put it together for them.
yeah, put
So
the
there's a
weight
lot of
style to it.
options to
Yeah,
save the client time. I
even
don't know what
that,
that is.
even that.
Anyway, I can't remember what I was saying.
Well, I'd say if we can help people by providing a lot more options and say, okay, if you have this, we can do this for it. Because obviously most people aren't getting the level of content out,
Hmm.
and that looks good, delivers, is concise, is meant for their audience, not them.
Right.
So there's a lot of material out there, but it's just not good material.
And it needs to be consistent.
Yeah,
And a lot of companies might make one or two videos a year, like you said, and there's nothing to subscribe to. I mean,
right.
what is that? Okay, I'm going to subscribe to 2 videos a year. No one's going to subscribe to that.
No, no, you're not
So,
going to binge watch 2 videos.
no. So it needs to be on a consistent basis, regular posts, and
Yeah,
help them
we've been doing
with
that ourselves.
whatever it is they're needing help with.
Yeah,
You're giving it away for free. Yes, you
yeah.
are.
But you're also looking at it from their perspective. What's the value I'm providing this particular client or potential client? And I mean that's how we sort of govern our what we're focused on is where's the value that we can provide, And, we looked at, and, you look at the market going on, and this will be sort of maybe a side bar, but looking at what's happening right now. I mean, they're still talking about, I have tabs open up right now, literally, that are focused on the economy, inflation, things like that. So those are going to make things tougher for businesses as they're trying to hire people, and now they can hire less people. All these things are going to start
Mm-hmm.
affecting how they're doing things. And I do see outsourcing, as a managed service provider. So we focus on the sales and marketing component of that, especially marketing. And a sales development rep is under the marketing motif, at least I believe so. And then a channel development rep would be more on the sales side. And there's different programs and different things you can do, but if you just look at an inside position, inside sales especially, um, there's really no reason to have a W-2 employee for that position, because now the overhead on that is so large. Now you have less hires where you could really focus in on the people, um, like your senior, kind of your top salespeople, and making sure that they're happy, that they have what they need, and then you're supporting them with inside sales. I think that's where the market should be going. And we've been looking at this for 2 years, knowing
Mm-hmm.
sort of what was going to be happening. And I saw all these hires happening. It was sort of crazy. So I think the next phase of that right now is going to be, how do we sort of get the message out that this is a better way of addressing this component, promote your inside sales manager. They'll like that. Make them you know, an account executive, or what have you, or a regional sales manager. And then Wave is just going to be that component where it's all dedicated people. It's all branded for them. They're not Wave people. They're their people, but we're just managing those teams
Mm-hmm. Behind the scenes.
because we have all this. We know the software. We know how it should be working, what they should, and there's just so much there
Mm-hmm.
that I think that's another component of that. But the reason I mention it is there's a future component where you take that position and then you take what we're doing on the video side. And I think that's where, we're sort of going, where this is where everything is going to be, I won't say virtual, and we wrote an article about the future of virtual communication, but where do you think it's going to go? Do you think it's going to go more in person or less in person? Well, obviously it's going to go more virtual. So all companies need to be sort of really thinking about the media that they produce and how well they are on camera and how well they're doing to explain what they do, and make it uh, digestible
Mm-hmm.
by their audience. And so this is where we're going with this: is imagine a personalized version of that.
Yeah. I always thought you were going to mention people aren't in the office anymore. So
Right.
how are you supposed to go to the office to have a meeting with somebody that's remote?
I mean, there's
So
tons of articles on
it's
that too.
all digital now.
The whole RTO, return to office, people are really fighting against that.
No, they
Maybe
don't
it'll
want to do it.
happen, but first it's trying to incentivize people, and now they're saying, hey, you're going to get in trouble. But there's just a big pushback on that, and it really doesn't matter either way. All I know is that, today, channel partners, for example, they're not in the office. They're not sitting there, doing like they were in the cubicle doing their quotes. They're at home doing the quotes. And so they're going from their house to the job sites, and then they go back home. They do all their quotes from home. And so dropping into the office to do sort of the old, hey, what you got going on, that's just not happening as much as it had in the past. So, we looked at that 3 years ago now, and we were already ready to sort of,
Mm-hmm.
go and support people, because we already were selling with our other B2B clients, using Zoom and all these platforms. So that wasn't such a bump for us, but no matter what industry it is, it's still, we're all sort of on the same ocean, if you would. So if somebody's having problems, it's going to have ripple effects. So my goal is to just help everybody so they're not having those problems, that they're ready for whatever the next thing is. And I think that's business continuity, and that's kind of coming back from my data storage life, is that you have to have business continuity. And that means that you have to plan for things that are unforeseen. What happens if the electricity goes out and you want everyone in your office? Okay, go home because now the electricity's out at the office, and you don't think that's going to happen for everyone. So there's going to be a lot to that, I think, where if you just sort of step back and look at, um, we call it RAID back in the old days, which was redundant array of independent disks. So you had a bunch of hard drives, and you had parity going over them, meaning you're using all the hard drives, and if one goes down, you're not down. So they can rebuild that. And I think it's the same idea. Like, I'm not saying to have a million offices, but I'm just saying that that distributed workforce isn't so bad. But if you do want them in an office, why not have at least the inside component not there? And we purposely, and this is sort of not greatly public, but I'll just say that we took our sales operations component, the support component, and moved that to where it's a lot friendlier and the power is not going to be an issue for us. And we did that just kind of looking ahead, what is going to happen if, for example, there's brownouts in California. You remember the grid last year, hey, it got hot and everyone don't charge your electric cars. So there's just going to be things that happen that people don't think about until it happens, and
And
then
the
they're
wind.
reacting. And the wind.
They turn the power off if it's windy and
Yeah.
all those other things.
Yeah, we lived through a lot of that. And so after a while you just have to, that and fires and everything else that happen frequently. So anyway, we've been working hard, trying to look ahead to see what we could do to mitigate those business continuity issues for the client. And so I think we built a pretty good system.
The thing is, I don't know how to say this, but a business has to be adaptable, constantly changing to fit the time that we're in.
Yeah.
And I mean, we had a rotary phone. We don't use those anymore. We had,
Hey, the plain old telephone lines are
rabbit ear
going away.
television. We don't have that anymore. Everyone laughed when it's like, what do I want to be on the internet for?
Oh my
gosh. What is that? And then email, what is that? And then when you email somebody and you get a response immediately back because
great.
It was like no one online.
Yeah. So I was.
So everything changes and you have to keep adapting to those changes. And if you're still doing things in an older way, it's going to continue to change and you'll be far and further behind.
Yeah. And I think this is funny. It's just like, I've seen a major change in just the internet and how it first was when I got on. And working for a data storage company, when you would send an email and you got one back, no matter who you were emailing, and then came spam. So there's always a shift, and now you have to make, a shift after that happens.
Once it gets hot, everybody likes it, and then shoom, you just have to shift where the attention is. The attention was in the email. It's not there now.
Right.
Now it's on social. Okay, what platform? Who are you trying to reach? What's the age group? You have to know all the demographics for that. You have to know who you're speaking to if you want to speak to somebody. And you can't just make one generic video for your entire company that just reaches this. It's you're not focusing it. You're not focusing your target. So.
And is it good content?
Yeah. And then it has to be good. And it has to be creative. And now it's the most creative is what gets pushed up there. And a lot of people think, this is another thing. A lot of people think that if they're subscribed to something or following something, that it's just going to show up in their box, and it doesn't.
Oh, man, that's
so
a big
let's talk
one.
about the algorithm problem and how you have to know all these things, and you're like, why didn't nobody...
That's a good... we were just talking about that yesterday, and that, if you look at LinkedIn and how it works, it promotes the individual, not the company, because they want the company to pay for advertising. And so when you're pushing things out there, the reason marketing is asking a CEO or anybody else to like, share, subscribe is the fact that when they're reposting something and liking that, it has a much bigger effect than when the company posts. What's funny is all those aggregate likes and all those aggregate
Comments
views.
and comments.
Yeah.
Click through.
Do not go and those are not shown in the company feed.
Yeah.
So it's just the way it is. Like you said, every platform has its nuances, and that's LinkedIn's. And today, that's the way it is. And it might change tomorrow, but
Right.
for today, that means that every person, when you look at a video, if you want other people to see that, you have to like it and you have to share it. At one point, I thought, why are people? It's like you would see everybody from one company liking and sharing their company video, and it's
Yeah.
like the only people doing it. And it's because otherwise it goes nowhere. So
And
if you
then the
want it to
other
go,
algorithms like TikTok, and I know everybody thinks that's a teeny bopper thing, but it's not. Um, there's a lot more people on there than you think now,
yeah,
and that algorithm works completely different than LinkedIn, and that one is by what people want to see, and there are no subscriptions. It's just the algorithm feeds it, and we just posted something as a test. It was like 6,000 views
yeah,
within like
it's
the
crazy.
same day,
It's if
like
it's good, it's
immediately.
good,
They
and people
love
will
that
like it.
video.
Yeah,
Why your switch failed was that one.
yeah, that's right. And that's our thing is to look at what all those trends mean and how a company can plug into that to get business. I mean, at the end of the day, everything that we do is how is this going to produce revenue? And I think a lot of people get trapped into looking at attribution and all these models and stuff from marketing, and they have a hard time justifying what they're doing because they can't really correlate, hey, this turned into revenue.
Yes, and that is what I wanted to talk about, because numbers underneath a video doesn't mean anything, and the marketing people that are using those, it's not really. I mean, the software that we have, some of it, I don't know if you want to talk
No.
about. Okay, never mind. But anyway, there's other ways basically that when you see it starts to generate sales and revenue,
Yeah.
those are the numbers that you're looking for.
Yeah, those are the droids you're looking for. So that's the biggest issue, I think, is people have a hard time attributing to revenue, and I think video is an easy way to do it because either they're going to like it or they're not going to like it, and if they do like it, that's a good sign that they're interested in the product and the company and what you have to say and what you have to problem you're going to solve for them. And I think again, I don't know why, but the channel is just kind of ignored on, oh, here's our partner site and here's some material. It's like, yeah, I want to watch an hour long webinar from everyone.
Right, and think about the channel partner. They are getting this from every manufacturer,
Yeah.
not just you.
Yeah.
And they don't want to go to this one and that one and the other one and do this thing for an hour and that thing for. They come to our channel because it's just quick doing. Okay, done.
Yep. Just quick,
And then they
quick
can go do
delivery
their
system.
job. They can go do some other thing that they're
Well, they're
busy
busy
with.
anyway,
Yeah, they're busy. They don't
So-
have time for all of that.
especially right now. I
Yeah.
think if any time, I think channel partners are probably under more pressure just because
They are,
their
but they're not.
managers are like, hey, here's quota. Yeah, you did well last month. This is this month.
Right. It's
So
always a new day.
yep.
Yep.
And
Today.
I think we can make some inroads on the channel side. This is one thing we have sort of planned is to create videos that are really geared for the channel in a series. So we could create a whole series of those for a client and help them, because that's what we do. I mean, we've been doing this for a long time. So I really love working with channel partners and helping them. Okay, let me boilerplate it down, make it really easy in terms of I'm not going to make you work for understanding this product. I'm going to show what the value is, where it fits, how it works, and why it's better than XYZ product. And so if we can create videos like that sort of build, but they're short and sweet. Like you don't want to go. Everyone thinks they need to make a 30-minute video or even a 10-minute. Sorry,
Podcast can be.
Yeah,
Because we're
podcast.
going over that. But yeah.
But that's the thing. It's just like you want things that I can go through this module, watch one. Okay, I'll come back to the next one later.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this quote now.
Sure.
People are moving around. They're doing a lot of stuff. So I think you just have to go where the needs are and where the market and what people need is that they need short, digestible content that doesn't suck, you know. Um,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. We posted content and no one liked it because
yeah,
it sucks.
yeah, yeah. Like you said, if I have a video to music, here that I mean, yeah, I mean, there's a plot for that for making an ad, but if that's all, or here's a blog post. I don't see a lot of action on blog post. I mean, everyone does a
It
little
might
bit of
have worked
everything.
a while back again.
Yeah, but
The audience
kind of breaks my heart
changes. You
though.
got
I
to
like
follow them
I'm
and
a
what
writer,
they.
so it hurts my feelings. Like it's just like no one wants to read all these great things that you create, but
Yeah,
you know, I think that's just how it goes. Like people just want they like video. They like to be able to get the information quickly and not have a giant time suck.
yeah.
It's funny though. For whatever reason, I'll watch a 2-3 hour podcast if the material's interesting because it's going to cover a lot.
Or the audio podcasts, like drive time,
Yeah, but
listening.
I can't read a blog post when I'm in the car.
Right. And it's the hours that people spend on social media
Oh
is
yeah,
astronomical.
I just
Like
saw that.
way more than television.
I think it was
So
5 hours.
television used to be,
Right.
where everyone.
Take advantage of it when you can.
Yeah, because guess what? Everyone's going to start doing it, and then you're going to be buried behind all of that content.
Right.
And then that'll have to change. Everything has to be constantly shifted.
Yep. And that's what we're really focused on is helping the client figure that out for them. Like you don't need to know all this stuff. All you need to know is that we know where to change things around for you and help you. And I think getting their content out in our way, that's just very powerful. And again, today, it's powerful that there's a window, there's a launch window. Like anything, email was awesome when I was first doing it. I was getting almost 100% reply. And then, there came spam. So right now there's a great launch window of getting the information out, getting the video content out there and making it really good and hot. So that way people, wow, this is good. It's well produced. It actually informs me about something and, it's in their feed. So if you want that, then that's something that we definitely want to help our clients with. And then aside from that, we've been doing other things besides the video component, but that's probably the most exciting thing that we're doing right now. But the software is definitely something that we should talk about more in future videos.
Yeah, let's talk about that in another. That's like a whole other gigantic topic.
Yep.
So we don't want to blow all of our content.
Right? No. We just wanted to finally create something for Pipeline, just so we could kind of go through some of the content that we've been thinking about and talking about and working on behind the scenes. And so we're really excited to get sort of this next level out for our clients and help them to sort of navigate. It's not really just navigating social media, it's navigating video content and understanding where the benefits are and explaining what their products and services, how to package that for their audience. So anyway, that's a ton of stuff that we wanted to cover. Is there anything else you can think of that we should include on this edition of Pipeline?
Well, the last thing I would say is if everybody's concerned about money and using social media to advertise on, it's free.
Yeah, today.
At least today.
Yeah.
Now later, you might have to pay for your ads.
Well, you can pay.
And
you have to pay for your ads.
Well, I mean, you can't. Yeah.
But you can
But what
organically
I mean is,
grow content.
Yeah, you can organically grow it. Like it's a level playing field right now. Is what I meant.
Yeah.
Yes, and what I used to do was spot placements for 30-second ads on television, and the price on that was just the ad placement. That wasn't the price that they charged the client to produce the video to put on and
And
you
they all
know.
wanted like 5-minute ads. I got all this stuff to talk about.
That's like a whole nother thing. But yeah, so, basically what I was trying to say is that it's affordable right now.
Yeah,
So why wouldn't you be doing this?
it's crazy.
I don't,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, here it is. It's in front of you. The
yeah.
opportunity is right in front of you. So if you'd like to, you know, have some videos made, some creative videos made, um, even if you don't want, you know, we can,
Well, we could, in other words, it's just like our dedicated services. They can be you. We can
yeah,
hire people just for a client as well
that's what I
to
was
be
trying
sort
to
of
say.
a subject matter expert spokesperson.
Hmm.
So that's another component. So there's
So
the Wave
they
branded
don't have,
and Wave unbranded.
that's what I was trying to say.
But I will say there's one thing about the Wave branded that's really interesting that I didn't expect, and that is that and Sam's done an awesome job. I mean, he goes out there and he's a subject matter expert. He's worked in the security industry like me for a long time. But what really gains sort of the momentum, I think, for us has been, we're a third party. We're not you. So we're talking about your product and really sort of reviewing, how does this work? Why does it work? And I love that because that's how I've always done demos is I'm
Mhm.
showing, oh, this is really cool.
It's
This,
a third party.
yeah. And you have to have that
Yeah.
if you want to, again, that builds trust because you saying you're great, you know,
Yes.
versus me saying, hey, this is a really great product. We have, we look at a lot of different products. In fact, everyone knows if they know me, I just don't sell stuff that I don't like. So there's been a lot of opportunities missed because of that probably, but I just don't like to partner with someone if I just don't like the product, if I don't believe in it, because it's just how I'm wired. And that's the technical side of me. I like great products. I like multi-sensor cameras. I like VMS platforms that can plug in new analytics and do things that other people can't. Data storage, that was my background, so I like to look at ingest video and how that works. And but there's a lot to explain. Channel partners aren't going to necessarily know everything about your product, but what do they need to know? You have to arm them with the correct amount of information. Otherwise, everything just looks sort of the same that's out there.
Yeah.
I mean, they have, probably 100 other products that they could sell. And if you want your materials to get in front of the client, their client, you have to arm them with everything that they need.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, we're really big on channel partner alignment and helping them and equipping them. And at the same time, it benefits the end user who now they're kind of seeing, like, before I had to go travel, I try to do 5 demos a day, and you go out there and you're in front of the end user as well, and you're helping to explain, here's what this product does, and this is why it can help your environment, because we're specifically walking one person's environment. And now if you can scale that out through video by showing, here's an environment that looks like this. Now someone can picture their environment matching that environment, and so you're able to sort of connect the dots, and really show relevance. Relevance is such a big word, but it's such a key to everything. Value and relevance are sort of the two things I think that we're most focused on.
Yes.
And value to our clients, relevance for the end user and channel partners of why does this matter to you? Why
Yes.
should you bother watching this video?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's that's going to take a lot of our time and energy to do that. But the point of having us do a video, we can package that all in, and then we have the channel. So if you know Wave and what we've been up to, if you go to Wave Security, that's where we've been sort of testing some of these ideas and really building an audience out there that doesn't have to see sort of the sales and marketing jazz that we have, on those Wave channel. And you can see the difference too.
Hmm.
Where we put a lot of our energy is where the channel's grown, whereas we haven't done that as much here. We've been behind the scenes working on a lot of content and a lot of other materials for other people. Um,
Yes.
so it's kind of the mechanic with the broken car sometimes. But I think we're really looking to um, expand all this out, open it up now. But we wanted to perfect a lot of the stuff before it sort of went prime, so that it's been literally in a beta uh, phase
Yeah.
for a while. So the Rep Plus component um, is how we've made it where that's like a Wave branded video, and so we can create those explainers and do all that, and on a nice time basis, and that's pretty much done. Except we'll need material from the client in terms of again video of their product, unless they also want to add that to our, but that's going to be a per item fee to go out and video
We
their
can save that for another video.
yeah.
We don't want to get into all that right now. We
But
just wanted to talk about.
yeah, but I'm just saying, so that's a big piece. If we're going to do something for somebody that's going to be under that wave,
Mhm.
um, we're doing basically a review.
Package.
Yeah, and we're doing reviews on their products. And then on the dedicated side, there is no wave. No one needs to know wave. If they want that completely branded, just like we do for inside sales and marketing people,
Hmm.
that there's no wave associated with that, other than we're doing the work behind the scenes,
Hmm.
which I
Maybe
probably
call
prefer.
white label. So.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, that's sort of the state of the union here in terms of what we're trying to accomplish for the clients. And I know a lot of people have been asking questions, and we've been sort of taking these meetings one by one until we're ready to sort of get to this stage to really open it up. So hopefully, there's a couple folks that I know, maybe they're listening and will say, "Whoa, that's what they've been up to." Okay, great. Because I'd love to work with a handful of manufacturers that, again, if it's a product that I can get behind, get the materials out for you and help you to get uh, your value prop out to a wider audience. That's exactly what we'll do for you. So give us a call and we'll kind of go from there. But hopefully this wasn't too long. But I just wanted to make it where we could put some material out here. So it's about an hour. So maybe I'll try to shorten some of this stuff up if I can. I'll
Yeah.
see.
We'll see.
But well, Glennis, our chief marketing officer. Thank you for jumping on here.
You're
Finally
welcome.
were able to get you onto the
I
podcast.
did. I came on.
So it's been good. I think we've been working on a lot of stuff, and we finally had time to take a break and get in front of the camera.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be good.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. Hopefully, something in there helped you.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
So until the next pipeline is released, have an awesome day, and we look forward to speaking with you soon. Take care.